Good morning and welcome to another edition of Stand Up for Jehovah. Now, today I'm going to talk to you about singing. I used to love singing. When I was a kid, we were listed in the local telephone directory as the contact for Jehovah's Witnesses, and one Sunday morning a man phoned up and then turned up at our house and told my dad that he really enjoyed singing and clapping. So he'd come to the right place, gentleman of limited mental capacity, because boy, did we do some singing, not so much a lot of clapping. We learned a lot from those songs. We learned how to rhyme move with louvre, and we learned how to rhyme heaven with given, and we learned how to fit the word heaven into one syllable, hem, and we learned how to fit the word heavenly into two syllables, heavenly. And it's a skill that I've never forgotten, as I found out when I went and did some carol singing at the local Old People's Home this Christmas. And I just remembered how much I loved belting out those songs. There were some cracking songs in that old pink songbook. We all had our favourites, didn't we? We're Jehovah's Witnesses, From Door to Door, All Things Bright and Beautiful. I really loved them. There were some songs that really romped along. They only covered one page and there were 4 verses, and so you got to practice it well. And by the end, you were really cracking it out. There were some other songs that were pretty difficult. They went over 4 pages, which is frankly unnecessary, I think, in my opinion. And they only got 2 verses, so you only got to practice it once, which meant that the first one was a kind of a low rumble of muttering, and one sister who always knew it really well and sang really loud and righteously. And then everyone else was sort of caught up by the end of the second verse, and then it was prayer time. My very favourite song has got to be this one. I hope you'll sing along with me, and I know that you'll know the words as soon as I start it. Lazarus lay sleeping in a cold stone grave. Wasn't that a cracking song? I used to love singing the Lazarus song. It made you want to stab yourself in the eye and crawl under a rock by the end, didn't it? Not quite sure why it was in there. Now, I had a very warm affection for the old pink songbook that you could roll up like a trumpet and do-do-do with it. The one that followed was hardback and it couldn't be rolled up and do-do-do at all. It did have a nice spot the difference competition in the front and the back, all those jolly singing Israelites. And I used to spend hours on that competition, but I never knew where to send my answers to. But I think I got all 10 in the end. But I didn't like the new songbook because there were loads of new songs that we didn't know. And why were there new songs? Well, there was a big problem with some of the old songs. Despite them all being about Jehovah and Jesus and heavenly and louvre and move and given and all the good, honest things that we like to sing about, they had been written by people who did bad things, or maybe just had bad thoughts. And so we had to get rid of them. We could only have songs written by true, righteous people. Now here's the thing, it is true that the devil does have the best tunes, and so the really righteous people just tended to write shitty songs, really. Not crackers that you could belt out like All Things Bright and Beautiful or Men of Harlech or From House to House, From Door to Door, but just boring, whiffly dirges that didn't have a proper pace. Sometimes they were in 5/4 time, whatever that is, but I know you couldn't waltz to it. Sometimes they were in 10/9 time or some other ridiculous feature that nobody could sing, and it just kind of killed the singing for me, and that's why I was really had to leave the Jehovah's Witnesses, because the singing just became rubbish. But like I say, I really did like some of those songs, and I've found that since I've left, I've enjoyed them even more. And one of the best times when I got to sing We're Jehovah's Witnesses was quite loudly in a gay bar in London. And there were 3 of us there, and one of us was gay and 2 of us were blind drunk. So it was almost like a judicial committee, really. And we belted that little number out in that gay bar in London, and we soon found that we had the whole bar to ourselves. It was fantastic. And so I would urge you, brothers and sisters, to dish out, find some of those songs again. Now, here's the thing. You don't have to get them from memory. You can now find them on the Kingdom Melodies tape, can't you? Kingdom Melodies. What a blessing from Jehovah that was. The Kingdom Melodies tapes meant that not only could you crack them out at Kingdom Hall, but that you could crack them out at home too. In fact, those tapes really sparked off a little competition in our congregation where the sisters used to kind of one up on where they listened to the Kingdom Melodies. Oh, well, I listen to them when I'm doing the ironing. I was lost at this point because I haven't got a clue what ironing is. Oh, well, I listen to them when I'm cooking wholesome meals for my family. Well, I listen to them all the time at night to put me to sleep. It just got ridiculous to the point where you were kind of having to justify, where you were listening to them. And you couldn't really listen to anything else because in your head you were thinking, well, should I really be putting Led Zeppelin's Houses of the Holy on when I could be listening to the Kingdom Melodies? And you were having this little internal argument in your head and saying, no, I have to take Axl Rose's Take Me Down to Paradise City off now and listen to Jehovah's Paradise Spiritual City songs instead. And it got a bit dictatorial for me, to be quite frank. And in the end, just had to go. I couldn't stand it anymore. I just needed a bit of Axl Rose, and things returned to normality. But every now and again, I do crack out a Kingdom song just to keep the old juices going. So I hope you enjoy singing too, and thank you for listening to my Stand Up for Jehovah.